Thanks for tuning in. I apologize because my head's probably cut off, and it's probably a pretty dark video given how bright it is, but I just couldn't possibly have spent what little effort is necessary to get this camera that doesn't have a flippy screen to expose properly, because I'm lazy. What can I say? Anyway, let's talk about this horrible thing that's happening. Have you noticed lately that people are leaving California? People are leaving San Francisco, Los Angeles. They're leaving Portland, Seattle, but they're also leaving New York, Boston. They're leaving Minneapolis, St. Paul. They're leaving a lot of these densely populated cities, a lot of these expensive areas. They probably have cleaner glasses than I do as well. So they're leaving these expensive areas that are very leftist, very deep blue, very Democrat controlled, and most recently, even more expensive than they already were, and very high in crime, especially property crime. Just a general blatant disregard for the people. And it really is a bit of a shame that people have to leave because of these things. But now here's the problem, and this is the crux of this video, and I'm not going to make it a long thing. These people who are in these expensive places, these places that have terrible, terrible policies, extremely high taxes, bad economic policies, heavy-handed red tape and bureaucracy, places where you have to have separate business licenses just to do two different things that are related, but technically still different. For example, Louis Rossmann runs a YouTube channel. He does computer repair. He does board-level repair of Macs and cell phones. And in one of his videos, he was discussing how he was in trouble with New York City because he didn't have a business license for computer reselling, or he didn't have the records for the resale or something like that. It was ridiculous. It's something that would never happen where I live. People leave these areas because of these terrible policies, these heavy-handed policies that cost them massive amounts of money, push them out of their living situations. They bail. They have to bail in a lot of cases because it just gets worse. It only gets worse. And what's common among all of these places is they have a fairly high population density, and they are run by Democrats, and not just any Democrats. They're not run by Democrats that lean towards the center. They're not run by moderate Democrats. They're run by deep blue Democrats that enact deep blue, hard, far leftist policies in these places. These policies are the reason that these people leave. These policies are what hurt these people until they have to abandon the place that they called home and go somewhere else. Go out where they may not have even wanted to go. Look for another opportunity in another place. And a lot of times, these people leave these horrible far left places and go to places that are less dense, that are more red, more Republican, or at least more moderate. Places that, frankly, have vastly superior economic policies, that are low tax, that have a good standard of living, that don't cost a lot to live in, that don't make egregiously stupid policies, like the lockdowns in San Francisco. Stupid policies, man. They go to these red places because guess what? Unlike these far leftist blue places, the redder places, or at least the centrist places, haven't done the stupid things. They haven't spent money they don't have until they are so far in debt that they may have to declare bankruptcy in the near future. They aren't overextended. They aren't under a boot of some sort of, frankly, Nazi-level bureaucracy that threatens to put you under the ground if you so much as sneeze out of line. They are intolerant places. They're horrible places to live. And there's been a mass exodus from California, and more recently from all of the other places I mentioned, because those far left policies have put people so hard under a boot that they're desperate to slide out and do anything they can to get out from under that boot. And they move to these places that are more centrist, more Republican, more right-wing, more conservative, because these places have more open areas, more nature. They have more room to grow. They have a lower cost to live. You can get a house cheaper. The money that they earned where they were, because they had to be paid more to keep up with the cost of living, suddenly they can live like kings in a cheaper, more Republican, more open place. The problem is that these people who left these other places come to these red places, these centrist places, these places that are at least in some way or another far more reasonable, far more well run. And they promptly join the local Democratic Party, and they promptly start pushing policies back towards the far left, because there needs to be some more balance in local politics in this place that I've moved to. Newsflash, sweetie pie. The place that you've moved to is not cancerous, because the place that you've moved to is not far leftist run. It is not high density far leftist garbage full of pandering bureaucracy that allows homeless people to live on your doorstep, that forces you, even though you make $120,000 a year, to live in a studio apartment without even a bedroom. These places are far better run, and yet, the second you show up, you think it's a great idea to start voting for the things that you ran like hell from. You are going to these new places and turning them into the old places that you hated. I've seen this happen personally. I watched as Pittsboro, North Carolina, granted, not where I live, but it's at least close enough to where I live that I've watched Pittsboro change from a very small town with a whole lot of trees and open air, and the whole reason that people moved there is it was a cheap place to go that still had some amenities and a lot of nice wide open space and trees and nature and stuff everywhere. A neat little downtown. And now it has exploded. It is absolutely controlled by wealthy people, mostly from the Northeast United States. Wealthy, older people with far leftist policies that have ramped development up dramatically and also discarded everything that was the reason that they came there in the first place. And of course, some of them complain about it too. But then everyone else that's around that said, hey, look, we told you so. We told you that this would happen. We told you that if you did things this way, that the whole reason that you chose to live here would get destroyed. But you didn't listen. Well, they didn't listen. And they continue not to listen to this day. And it's happening to more and more places. Texas, God knows how long that's going to be red. Arizona, God knows how long that's going to be red. So you have these blue people who hate their blue places, who hate being under the blue boot. You have them moving and ruining their new place. And I have a term for this. This thing where they bring their blue taint to places that are better run and that aren't far leftist. They are Wokusts. Because, much like the locusts of old, and even of new, as some bad Chinese policies pointed out, locusts destroy all of the crops, all of the plants in their path. They feed on them until they are destroyed, and then they move on. And that is what these people do. But rather than eating up all of the plants, rather than consuming the greenery around them, what they do is they take advantage of better places that are better because the people there were more responsible. The people there took care of their backyard, took care of their neighbor. People there cared about the place, and that's why they wanted to come there too. They show up, destroy the place that they came to because they liked it, and move on. They are bringing the failure of the places that they're coming from to these other places that did not have that same problem. And much like locusts, they will bring their bad policies, put them in place, go, gee, why does it smell like poop here too? Oh, I guess I got to move somewhere else. And they'll do the same thing to the next place that they go. So what we have is these heavy population centers that have bad policies are now shoveling those policies off onto other populations who acted responsibly, who did not put in place those bad policies. These more rural, more right-wing or centrist areas are paying the price for the failures of the woke states. These wokusts, the citizens of the woke states, the woke scolds that wish to control everyone's life, that bring these horrible policies with them, that have no tolerance for anyone, they are bringing the cancer of where they came from to the place that they came to, which means that the place that they're going is going to pay for the bad policies of the place that they came from. It's kind of like whenever a bunch of homeless people got shipped, I believe it was into Las Vegas, maybe was it Nevada or San Francisco? There was somewhere that other places just like bust all of the homeless population into there, and they got real mad about it. But what are they going to do? What is their recourse? You know, how do you can't just get rid of them. What are you going to do? Like, you're not going to kill them. What are you going to do with these homeless people that have suddenly been bussed into your state? I think there was a lawsuit over that. I didn't pay a lot of attention, admittedly, to any of this stuff because it didn't directly affect me. I don't live in wacky land on the West Coast. But my point is, you have these people who live in these horrible places, and they're ruining the new places that they go. So you might live in a really great place. You might live in a relatively small town, a few thousand people, that seems like it's just far enough out of major cities, just far enough out of big urban areas, large population centers, that you can still drive an hour to get to those places if you want to, take in the amenities that they provide. But you have that nice, comfy small town living where you are. You can expect that to be destroyed if you are even remotely close to a center of population and commerce. You can expect that to just go right out the frickin' window, because all these people that are leaving all of these failed leftist, Democrat-run, high population places with terrible policies now want you to enact those same policies in your small town, in your comfy little section of the world. And so the only solution for people who don't want to be near these wokest cancers is to go somewhere even further away. So now they're being displaced as well. This is distinctly different from gentrification. Gentrification by itself is basically just buying up properties in a trashed place and reforming them. This is a situation where the policies being put in place actively destroy everything that is good about the place. Arguably, with gentrification, there's nothing good about the place that they're cleaning up in the first place. Thus, the reason that the property values were low enough, someone could buy it all up and clean it up in the first place. There's not really... It's very difficult to argue against gentrification, because a lot of times gentrification results in criminal elements going away and property destruction going down and just general bad things happening to less people in that area. So you can't really compare the two directly, but it basically is like evil gentrification if you think about it. Anyway, I didn't want to get into the gentrification thing too much. The bottom line is that I figured out that they are wokusts, that wokust is the best term ever to describe it because it packages it all into a nice mimetic little package that anybody can understand. So I encourage everybody who's watching this to start using the word wokust. Wokust, locust, it's spelled Wokust. Use that everywhere you can because it's perfect. I'm out. I got driving to do, all that construction's behind me, the sunny skies, you probably can't even see my face. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all. Take care. Good morning, noon, night, whatever it is, wherever you are. And I hope you've enjoyed it. Also, down below, links to support me, links to my other video areas, whatever, website, blah, 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 blah. Look down there. Have a good one.